is up, you guys? So, I'm recording from my iPad. The main reason I do not record from this device, though it is great, is because the camera is over here. I think I'm looking at it. I don't know, because now I'm not looking at you. Anyway, so I feel like I'm like staring off into the ether. If anybody has an idea on how to like make this better, drop a comment. Please tell me like what am I supposed to do so that I don't feel like I'm staring out of the camera, but I'm actually like looking anyway. Okay, so it's been forever since I did an update. I updated my iPad and I'm super excited because now I can have my notes, and I could probably always do this. I just did not know how until just now. I have my notes and the camera on because my phone is on full storage. But now I can do both on just this one device, and I love that. I love that for me. I love that for us. I love that for this video. Anyway, so I was supposed to do an update. I had plans to do an update before the new year started. That did not happen. So I'm gonna do it now. And my hair's not done. Um, this little lock is giving me trouble. It's just being itself. I need a retie. It's all good. We are here, and we're just gonna. I'm not gonna keep procrastinating on making this video. Because I'm actually, when I tried to record it the first time, I got really excited, and then my phone being full of storage. Anyway, y'all don't need to know that. So let's get into this video about end of the year reflections on my budget. So at the end of the last year, I was subletting at a friend of mine's house, and I enjoyed it. Like it was rough, and when I say it was rough, it was mentally rough because it's never really like quiet, and y'all, like, the beauty of being in silence and how much it just like makes your mind sound so loud. um it made me realize so many different things about myself, about how I function, how like my mood, like it just made me notice so many habits within myself that make me very excited to actually be alive in general. And they were bad habits, like there were things that I was like, this isn't good, but it just made me so happy to like be alive. Like afterward, I was like, oh, I have so much to look forward to. Anyway, but also just gave me the experience of paying rent by myself, and I liked it. I liked it, and I started to look more seriously into moving out on my own. And then I looked into getting a condo, and I was like, I've been teetering on wanting a condo for so long, but I don't my credit's not that great, and I knew I just wasn't making enough money. But then I said, you know what? If you don't inquire, you'll never know. So I had a meeting with a realtor, then I had a meeting with a mortgage lender, and he gave me the steps I really needed. And it was, of course, something I already knew, which was one, sis, you gotta go fix your credit. So I'm super excited to say, and I'll go a little bit more into like some of the things that have happened since I started. We're going on a credit journey of just like fixing and understanding and building credit because it's a necessity. I'm 28. Anyway, end of the year reflections. So at the end of the year, I realized like I really didn't know my goals. I kept like teetering around them, and they were just like floating around in my head and around. But I started to realize like one of the problems I was running into with my money was I didn't have any goals for my money, and so it was just kind of getting spent anywhere. Even though I knew I wanted to track it, I wasn't tracking it for a purpose anymore. I was just tracking it to track it. So like I fell into the trap that I know most people fall into. You just working to pay bills and survive. And I'll be honest, that clarity did not hit probably until like a week and a half ago, maybe less. And I'll tell you why. So in December, I was tracking my bills way more aggressively. I was using this Notion tracker. It's a phenomenal tracker. I will not be using it anymore, but it was a great tracker. And the reason I won't be using it anymore is because I have a bad habit of like nitpicking. So I was structuring it more than actually using it. I say it was a great tracker because for the moments that I did use it, it led me to what I'm doing now in January. And I'll get to that. Anyway, but I was tracking my day-to-day expenses. So every time I spent money, I was able to put in all the debts I have, all the expenses I have, and in all my income for the month. And so what that made me aware of was, one, my income and expenses are very, very close. Two, I spend a lot of money on Uber and fast food. Now, I feel like I've mentioned this before, so it's like this isn't a shock, but seeing it day to day to day was like, girl, do you not have goals? And that's when I realized I don't have clear enough goals for this money. And I have to find a way to put to make the goal and keep it in front of me, right? And so that was the first revelation from uh, December. The second one is what you track will grow, right? So all my bills are paid for December. I don't think anything was late, which was just a win. Um, as you all know, back in August, I felt like it was a win because now I was saving, and then I kind of had that stumble tumble fall in September and October, and literally my savings has been wiped out and has not recovered since. And it's because I knew I wanted to restore my savings, but I no longer had a goal and I no longer had an expectation that I could do it. And so I was still I'm still not like struggling for money, but I was still living paycheck to paycheck because I was no longer focusing on saving and bettering my financial situation. I was just focused on making the money to pay the bills. I got caught in the rat race, the wicked cycle. So now that I'm tracking it, I'm like, okay, what do I really want to achieve? And so the main goal that I'm working on right now is debt. Like I said, I'm going to get to that when I get to the section on New Year's. Um, but December really, like, overall last year financially, it was hard. It was hard, but it was so good. And I had a crash out at the end of last year, y'all. I'm not gonna go too detailed into it, but I had like a spiritual crash out where I was just like, what is the point of any of this? This is dumb. This is terrible. I'm angry. God, like, I've spent so much time just trying to do the right thing and make the right decision. And what God really showed me was like, make the faithful decision. Make the decision that means you're moving based off faith and not fear and not a desire to control everything, and He will handle the rest. Because God, like, literally, y'all, God showed up for me so many times when I was trying to control everything, when I wouldn't ask for help, when mistakes were made. He always showed up and it was just like, why do you think I won't take care of you? And so that, like, it humbled the mess out of me. And when I say it was December 29th when this message finally made sense to me. And I just like bawled. I was like, wow. Like, I've really been trying to control my business, my finances, and myself, my outcomes, my relationships, create just, oh man, I don't want to get into all of those different things, but it's all been out of a lack of faith that God will restore and provide if I make a mistake or if there's not enough. So that brings me to the new year. And so last year was the year of faithfulness. This year is definitely a year of just courage to do more, courage to trust God more in the moments of uncertainty, and trust God to even do less in certain areas where I feel like I need to double down and work so much harder. Because I have a tendency, something I realized about myself towards the end of the year, is when I feel emotionally stressed, these are the habits that will ruin my finances. When I get emotionally stressed, here's what I do. I will eat. I will spend like $40 on fast food, $30 on fast food. That may not sound like a lot to you, but bro, it's cheap food. It's not good food. It's cheap food that could have been made at home. It's a waste of money. I will spend that money to alleviate stress. I will buy a coffee every flipping day. Not because I need the coffee, not even really because I want the coffee, but because it makes me feel less stressed. And the thing is, don't get me wrong. Don't hear this and think, oh, she's one of those people who's like, your Starbucks coffee is keeping you broke. I kind of am one of those people, though. I actually kind of am. But it's because what's the mentality behind why do you need that coffee? I'm buying this coffee because I'm anxious and I want it to make me feel better. No, 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 no. Sorry. We believe in Jesus around here. The Bible says be anxious for nothing, but in everything be in prayer and supplication. No, 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 no. You go pray. You want that coffee? Drink that coffee because it tastes good. Drink that coffee because you have it allotted in the budget. Drink that coffee because you want it. But don't you dare go drink that coffee to alleviate your anxiety. That's not what we do around here. And I started to realize that's what I've been doing when it comes to food. That's the first thing that I'll do. Second thing that I'll do is I'll lean into every opportunity for convenience. Y'all, I don't have the patience to be inconvenienced when I'm stressed. So I will pay $20 for an Uber, $25 for an Uber. When I know what I really could have just done was not oversleep, which I also do when I'm stressed, not oversleep, wake up on time, leave in the according hour, and take the bus. Now, don't get me wrong. I've taken the bus. Y'all, I'm freaking SpongeBob. People who know me closely, I'll tell them in a minute. I'm SpongeBob. I am SpongeBob. SpongeBob done missed the bus that every time. That happens to me all the time. That's when I need to take an Uber because now, like I did my best. It didn't work out. Oh well. Take an Uber. You still gotta get to work. Take an Uber. You still gotta get to the appointment. Let's try and not be late. You know. But to deliberately like move slow because I want the comfort of numbing out, it's costing me money. And so I'm allowing money to support me not leaning on God. That's what I was allowing my money to fund. You don't gotta agree with that, but that was the revelation I came to. And it didn't matter even if I was doing that, because God still provided no matter what. And so the question I had at the end of the year was like, how much more is possible if I leaned on God in the first place? So, New Year. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I should have opened up this video starting with that. I'm very excited for the new year. I don't know what it is, but most of the people around me, like, y'all, we all know last year was crazy. Like, not just for, like, finances and stuff, but, like, last year was weird. Politically, financially, socially, last year was weird. But I just feel like everybody's so optimistic, and I feel that way too. So, I'm going to tell you guys what has happened to me in my optimism of 2026, and it's only been 3 weeks. So, first thing that happened, I got slapped with a lawsuit from some credit card debt. I lost the lawsuit, and now I owe these people their money back. And if I don't pay them their money back on their timeline, they can start garnishing my wages. Okay. Then, I work in retail, so the last like 3 months of the year was holiday season, and so I was obviously working more than I normally do. I just got my first post-holiday paycheck, because the first paycheck of the year is a reflection of the end of holiday season. This paycheck I just got is a reflection of post-holiday season. My paycheck was sufficiently $500 less. We're off to a great start. We're off to a great start, you guys. Though I knew to track my money, I did not. Oh, I had my first money meeting. So I've been telling myself I was gonna have a money meeting for forever, because someone called I think her name is Millennial in Debt. It's either Millennial in Debt or the Bougie Budgeter. I don't remember which one, but they're both phenomenal people. Follow them on Instagram. I've been following their money tips and stuff for years. I'm actually starting to implement it because, hard-headed. Anyway, I don't know which one of them was that recommended it, but have a money meeting. Have a meeting with yourself at the beginning of the month regarding your finances. So I had my impromptu money meeting right actually on this chair, I think, last time. And what I did was, because of what I learned last month with tracking my finances, I said, wait, my bills, I have a lot of fixed bills. Like, I have a lot of things that I'm always paying for. And then I now have the goal, which I didn't even realize until I started recording this video. I'm so serious. I did not realize this until I started recording this video. That after I had that conversation with that realtor, that I've progressively been working on getting rid of my debt. But because of the lesson I learned in December, when it comes to tracking my money and where my debts are, I've progressively been combating to get rid of my debt and minimize my credit card usage. So I have about probably like outside of the credit card lawsuit I just lost, probably like $2,200, maybe $3,000 in credit card debt. Nothing crazy. For some of y'all, that's crazy, but I've been in worse places. It's been worse. It's been worse before. So, and I really should have had this on the table because all this moving of the camera is a little crazy, but you know, I'm gonna film it while I can. I had my money meeting, and I was like, okay, I get paid on this day, and I get paid on this day. These 2 days are the days that I get paid for my day job. If I get paid out of business, so what? Like, I'm not counting that. And so what I did was I set up regularly scheduled transfers, and I also scheduled all my bills to be paid, and then I scheduled to have transfers made to from my so I get paid through one bank. That bank is Capital One. And then I have another bank account with Chase. Back when I was in college, I was listening to a podcast called I Don't Do Budgets. I don't know if that podcast is still around, but it was really good. And it really started to reshape the way I understood money. A tip she gave to me before I really had bills, what she mentioned it quite a few times, is having a bill account. Having a checking account that you don't do nothing else out of but pay bills. All that account is used for is to pay bills. She told me this when I was like 18. No, I had to be like 21 years old. But I'm slow to execute. We're going to leave it there. And so finally I said, okay, I'm going to use this account to just pay bills. And so what I did was I went into my account that receives my pay, and I scheduled regular transfers. I recommend trying this because I'm going to cut to the chase at on the back end of this and say, dang, this hurts. Like, this is financially like, I feel like I'm joking. But I'm excited about it. Why? So what I did was I said, okay, these are the bills I have for this month. These are the debts I want to cover. This is, things that need to be paid, that need to be drafted. I went into all my credit card bills, my cell phone bill, any other bills that need to be paid, and I set that their draft is going to come from this bill account. So it's all going to come from an account that I do not receive my pay into. Hear me now. I do not get paid into the account that is paying my bills. What did I do then? In the account that I actually get paid into, where my check actually goes to, I went into that account and scheduled transfers. So the day I get paid, which is always the Thursday, not like it's Capital One. If you have a Capital One account, they pay you the day before. If you don't, get one. It's kind of cool. So I scheduled all my transfers to leave my account the day that I get paid. Not the Friday that it should be. That's the day I should get paid. No. I don't want, the mentality behind it was this. I want to open my account on Thursday, and I want to see what's left over. And so when I talk about transfers, the transfers include transfer money to my savings account, transfer money to alternative checking accounts, and transfer all these bills and all these debts that need to be paid, transfer the payments to the bill account. Because then what did I do to the bill account? I scheduled to have the bill paid. So even if the bill has to be paid on the 23rd, on the 15th, it doesn't really matter. Why? Because that money, that's not the account that I check. That's not the account where my pay is going. That money is out of sight, out of mind. Here's what happened, I believe, in December. It happened at the beginning of December. I had scheduled to pay off a credit card bill. And there's a lag between when I scheduled to pay the bill and when they actually pulled the money. And so I'm like, oh, I have this much money left in my checking account. The bill bounced back, and they said, oh, the bill's not paid. And I was so angry, y'all. I was so angry. And that's what led me to say, I don't know if I'm explaining this clear enough. So I have a Chase account. My Chase account is my bill account. So, and I also have a Capital One account. My Capital One account is my pay account, so to speak. So I'll take the pay from my Capital One account, and I will transfer in increments. That's the other thing, in increments. Oh, what needs to be paid to Chase. So I'll schedule out and put it in the notes of the transfer. Phone bill, credit card bill, rent, all of these different things are just making transfers over to Chase. Now, on the side of Chase, what am I doing there? Whoever it needs to pay, what, like, those bills are just scheduled whenever they're due. They're just scheduled and they're all going to come out of Chase. Why? Because the money is there. How does this help me? I feel like I'm over explaining myself, because if this is something that you find valuable, duplicate it. And I want it to make sense. Um so what this does for me is, when I don't check my Chase account. Really, like, I don't. I know the money that's being sent there. I don't check that account. I check my Capital One. So when I check my Capital One account, all that's there is the money that's left over after everything's been paid. And when I say everything, that includes money being transferred to my savings accounts. Y'all, when I had this money meeting and I was like, wait, so, like, since everything is pretty much scheduled, I don't have to think about paying bills for the rest of the month. I felt so much peace. And I was like, wait, like, all the money is going to be allocated because I just gave myself this hour, this 2 hours to just think about it now and to schedule it to get paid. This is not the end game. I'm just going to tell you guys right now, when it comes to my finances, this is not the end game. I do not want to, like, this to be like, oh, this is it for me. It's like, no, for me, this is progress. This is progress away from feeling scattered, like, when is that due? I forgot that was due. This is going to get shut off. I'm going to have a late fee. This is progress. Having a meeting with myself about my money is progress. Now, the other win of progress, I just paid off one of my credit cards. I'm so excited. And I closed it. I do not recommend closing credit cards, and like I said, I'm going to get into my credit card journey that I'm going to start next. Because, whoa, I don't like where I am with these credit cards. Anyway, that was a win. It was because I planned my money. I was like, okay, because of what I did in December with just, like, getting clear on where all my finances were, I was like, wait a minute. If I just sacrifice, like, having discretionary income, I can pay off this credit card in a month. Let me pay this thing off. So I paid it off. Super happy. It closed. It didn't close by my choice, which is why I'm starting a credit card journey, because I want to be on top of this credit thing. But yeah, so definitely recommend, 1, have a money meeting with yourself. I think it could be really helpful. 2, establish a bill account. Something I ran into when I was helping someone else with their finances and I had recommended a bill account, the objection she gave me was, I want to have access to it. Hear me now. I have access to my Chase account. If I wanted to use that card for something else, I could. If I wanted to use that account for something else, I could. I do not want to. Your bill account is for bills. It is not for anything else. You send money to that account. You set up auto draft ACH payments for your bills out of that account. You do not need access to it beyond sending money to it and being able to check the balance. You don't need access to it. So if money ends up over there, it's supposed to be there and you're not supposed to pull it back. Okay? Now, like I said, the bill account wasn't my idea. The person who introduced it to me was a podcast called I Don't Do Budgets. And the one thing I have yet to implement, but I plan to, is creating a 6-month cushion. And that is having 6 months worth of expenses inside of the bill account, so that if hard times hit, you will not fall behind. I'm not there yet, but that's the goal. Okay, so that's the beginning of the new year. And then, like I said, the next thing, my check is $500 smaller, so I'm working with less money to pay the same amount of bills. And old debt. So that old debt that came up, and they took me to court for it, and I lost, and now I have to pay them. I don't know, man. I have been thinking about this for a while, where, there's all these hacks. I'm not disputing, discounting, discrediting any of the hacks on how to get out of paying credit card debt. But you know what? When I was sitting there making my payments for my credit card debt, and when I got that notice that, like, you lost the court case, you have to pay them, I got upset. I got really upset. And I was just like, I'm just trying to make progress. Now y'all coming for my check. I don't even have a choice anymore. And I thought about it and I was like, but I spent the money. Why shouldn't I have to pay them back? I spent that money. Somebody else didn't spend that money. I did. Why shouldn't I pay it back? And I realized, like, I've had a really nasty heart posture towards credit card debt. Like, this is so annoying. And it's like, you're so annoying. You're the one who spent the money. Who are you really mad at? Me. And so when I made peace with that, I was like, I'm going to pay these people back. I'm going to pay them all back. And I value the perspective of paying it back simply because I think it'll build the muscle to be more disciplined and more selective on what I spend the money on in the first place. And like as I go on this debt journey, I'll keep you guys updated with that piece. But as of right now, some things I'm gonna identify some things I want to learn. I think I'm gonna do a totally separate video about just like reflections on credit and some things I'm gonna learn and look into and gain better understanding on credit. And maybe do a video with someone because I know someone who does credit repair and different things that they've learned. But whatever. And so the old debt came back to haunt me. Pay your debt. That was my lesson, is pay your debt. You're the one who created it. And oh no, I'm gonna save that for another video. And so yeah, I think the last two things I would want to talk to you guys about is praying over my finances. So I have been having a lot of like emotional turmoil about my finances, just feeling frustrated, that realization that like I'm literally working to pay bills and I hate this, and feeling trapped and feeling like I'm not, like I literally, because of focusing on my credit cards and then the lawsuit and then the $500 shorter in my check, I don't make enough anymore to move out. I thought I was gonna move out. I literally do not have enough money anymore. And I was like, oh. And I cried. When I realized that, I cried. I was like, I'm never gonna progress forward. Not gonna lie to y'all. I was just like, life is not gonna get better. I'm literally just gonna be this like sad sap living in my mother's house, never leaving. And it's like, sis, you could always get another job. This is true. If you don't like your income, go get another job or get a skill. But then I thought, I was like, it doesn't have to be this way. Everything's a process. Think about the muscle that's being built in you by going through this process. And so two things is, one, recognize the role I play in my own misery. Take ownership and responsibility. I've literally, like, because I've been like emotionally just like charged, like emptied out money, like drained over days, my savings, buying takeout. Buying clothes, because buying clothes used to be what I did instead of buying takeout. And that I'm the villain in my own story for doing that. Not praying over my finances. Coming to the realization that like emotions aside, the main reason I really want to have money, I do like nice things. I came to, that's a totally different conversation of like, when I started shopping based on what I like versus what was affordable, I have expensive taste. It's great. It's terrible. It's okay. And but when I actually like look at like what are the things I really want to spend money on, I want to spend money on like helping people, like bringing people together, hosting gatherings, giving gifts. Like those are the things I want to do. And every time I betray my own self by giving into emotional based spending, I set myself back from being able to give to other people. And God's word talks so much. Like when I believe it's in Luke or even in James, it talks about like the rich man, use your wealth to bless other people and to take care of other people. Yo, I really want to make money so that I can help other people. And I ain't gonna lie to you, like, that sounds goofy in my head. Like, really? And I tell you this, and I say this with all seriousness, it took me a minute to want nice things. Because I just didn't think it was important. Until I realized that cheap things cost you a lot more money down the road. And also that there's nothing wrong with wanting nice things. And so, coming to the conclusion that one, the problem is me. I have to take responsibility for being the villain in my own story when it comes to my finances. Two, I have to take my emotional distress to God and not to food, not to the store, but to God. And then three, my financial goals, I also have to take those to God. Because God is the one that blesses the increase. When we trust God with our money, He will provide. He will provide materially, He will provide financially, He will provide socially. Because where I couldn't buy groceries, yeah, okay, God didn't give me $10,000 or even, God didn't even give me $100. God gave me a group of people who said, do you need groceries? And they brought me food. And so when it came time that I did finally have the money, I didn't feel like I was playing catch up. I felt like I was just moving forward. And so all that to say, that is my money update. It was a little scrambled all over the place, but if you made it this far, 30 minutes into the video, thank you for watching. I'm super, super, super grateful to God for just like the lessons, and super excited about the year of courage. So I think I'm gonna make so many different videos out of this, spurring from this one. Is like, what does that look like financially? What does that look like for my debt, for my budgeting and saving, for my business? The business one I'm just like all over the place about. And what does that look like for my relationships in life? I'm grateful that I can even think about life this way. And I'm still here to think about life this way. So let me know your thoughts below. What are some goals that you have? Maybe I'll make a video about goals. I don't know. Look, this whole channel is just to give glory to God on the journey that is life. To walk humbly before God. Or with God. But yeah, thank you guys for getting 32 minutes into this video. I pray that you are having a blessed new year. Drop a comment below with your goals or some lessons you learned about money and finances, or anything that you are looking to learn this year financially. Peace.